Tumelo Home is a home to severely intellectually disabled children, youth, and young adults. The home was started by Dr. Moses Tembisa, who is a practicing doctor in Tembisa. The reason why he started it is that he realized that many people who would bring their children who were patients to him, they would bring children, and he realized that a lot of children with severe intellectual disability were not really taken good care of. So that's where the vision was born in him, to say, if as a way of servicing the community and helping the community, he would have a daycare center. By then, we had a number of practices, and 3 of our practices were in Ivory Park. So the project was started at one of the practices. So the idea was to have the parents bringing the children during the day, which would serve several purposes. One, a lot of parents would be able to go out and look for jobs. Okay. Number 2, but also as a family doctor, you'll be able to monitor these children at a close range. But then from first day that people brought their children, some never came back to fetch their own children. So as you can imagine, then their home was stuck with these children. We went around to look for the addresses, the numbers that were given. But by that time, Ivory Park was more a squatter camp. It was shacks with numbers. So you come to a place and you find that they don't know the child that you're talking about, of which it's easy if there is someone who is differently abled in the community, someone would easily know there is a disabled person or a person who's differently abled around the community. And we realized that people didn't know, and that dawned on us to say these children were abandoned intentionally. Since then, we've been operating 24/7, 365 days in a year. So what we do is to try and house them, make a home for them. That's our priority number 1. Because a lot of kids, even then, were brought in by social workers and police because they were found abandoned at train stations, on the streets. And some of the children, we've had children that were brought here and they were locked in back rooms because some of the parents were frustrated with these kids. Because what we have, Tembisa is a big community combined with Ivory Park, but we don't have a government facility in the area that takes care of people with severe intellectual disability. So as a result, a parent is stuck with this child who the chronological age, it's saying he should go to school, but the mental age is that of a 5-year-old. Example, average age, mental age in our residents is between 3 and 4. That's how young they are. But then the youngest, it's 4. The eldest is now 46 and she has been here longer. And you find that they are orphans. To a lot of these children, this is the only home they have and they know. Then that made us, we operate 24/7, 365 days in a year, we are open and operating. But because as part of our programs, we realized they are human. You cannot just house them and feed them. We do have in-house programs that we try to run them through. Obviously the programs, a lot of our programs are limited by funds. We are purely an NGO, we are a community project, as I've mentioned. When the doctor started it, we were running it from the practices. Funds-wise, we were funding it from the practices. But when the demand grew bigger, we couldn't fund it from the practices. So it had to stand by itself. It's a registered NGO. Also, it's a registered PBO with SARS, which means donations that are made can be tax deductible. So now we provide stimulation, we provide therapy, and we provide treatment and care. These kids, they eat here, they clothe here, and they are cared for here. Some of them do have chronic conditions like epilepsy, of which a lot of them are on epileptic treatment. Therefore, with people who we need carers, And we couldn't only function on volunteers, because then a lot of our children are on nappies. Children, as you can imagine, I'm talking about an 18-year-old who is using adult nappies. We use a lot of nappies. We have over 24 people on nappies. We have 32 on residential program currently here. We have a new facility that we started in President Park. We have 26 males who are there. Now, as a result, we had to have caregivers who have basic training in nursing, and we had to commit to stipends. We take 1 month at a time, because at the end of the day, as a community that is in the previously disadvantaged, historically disadvantaged community, there's high unemployment rate in our community. We don't have a lot of sponsors. We don't have sponsors, continued sponsors, which makes it difficult to have long-term plans. Like when we were building the structures that are here, someone donated bricks, someone donated steel, someone donated cements and all that. We built one piece at a time. So then long-term plans becomes difficult. That is why one of the major things that one is doing is to try and look for sponsors, people who can buy into the vision and the commitment of this facility. Apart from doing the stimulation and therapies, we need to take them to clinics, we need to take them to hospitals, and we do have extra stuff to do that, drivers and all that. All these people needs to be paid. Come end of the month, they need to be paid. But one thing that is good is that we have cared for these children. As I've said, the home, it's long that we have been functioning. We've grown from strength to strength. And a lot of this is because of community coming together. Our community in Ivory Park, as I've said, it's challenged economically. But now and then, we appreciate the gesture from the heart. You'll see someone bringing a plastic of clothes that they are no longer using, and we sort those that can be usable and give them to the residents. And some, obviously, those that are not usable or that we can't use, we have a squatter camp around called Tembakoza. We go donate it at that site. So that's what we do at Tumelo Home. Our goal, we do have a long waiting list. At present, as I've said, we have 32 on residential program. They are staying here full time. Then we have 20 on daycare program. The reason why we started daycare program 3 years ago was when we realized that we have a long waiting list. Right now, our waiting list is standing at 330 plus. Some have been waiting since 2009 for the space. Unfortunately, space is one of the challenges that we have. Hence, 3 years ago, we embarked on fundraising. Some people will donate 20 rands, 50 rands and whatever, but we managed to buy a property in President Park. But then, as you can imagine, the property that we bought was just a house. It can only house few people, but at least the land is big. So we're looking at potential partners, companies, individuals, organizations there who can partner. Because at the end of the day, people with the intellectual disability, they have cerebral palsy, a lot of them, will always be with us. They are part of our community. Maybe by the words of our late former statesman, Nelson Mandela, he said, if you want to know the society's heart, you need to look at the way they take care of their children. But we can extend it by saying the way we take care of our disabled people. Some of these people are older. As I say, the eldest is 46. In her mind, she is only 4 years. The disabilities differ. Some can walk around, but unfortunately, intellectually, they are so low, they can't be in a school. Whereas others can't sit, can't walk, can't feed themselves. So we practically need carers to make sure they bath them, they feed them, they clean them, they need someone. And they are that way dependent so long as they live. So, which is a greater burden on the organization. We call for partners who are into this to say, let's partner together. We do have a land. We just need extra help to build proper stimulation facilities, and especially because the goal of the next project, which is in President Park, it meant we wanted to take the older residents, because a lot of them came up here, they were around 8 years, and now they are 20, 22. They are older and they grew up here, and this is the only home. You can imagine to have a facility that takes care of a 4-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 24 years old, a 46-year-old at one facility. It's like having a preschool, a primary school, a high school, and a university in the same group of people wants to run the program. So our programs are challenged. We need to have a workshop facility for some, because some we have realized they do have a skill for working with their hands. They do take time, but some reflect that. So it's one of the things, because what we understand as Tumelo Home is that there's nobody who should be locked in a mental institution for the rest of their lives. Unfortunately, our government itself is challenged. They don't have facilities. I've had meetings with people from the government who say, please, when you have space, admit people. We do have people at hospitals who are stuck. Parents, families have abandoned them. Please take them in. But we are challenged. We here as a community project to service the community that is around us. But then we have to take some. As I'm saying, the ones in President Park are from the government departments. So it's a challenge. And unfortunately, we need to make sure that they are provided for. What we see as a beautiful thing is when they come in and they become like brothers and sisters in their own way. They have friends. They are happy. They are at home. Our key thing is to provide them a loving home. And that's what Tumelo Home is doing. Apart from the professional services that we offer, we do have the services of an occupational therapist. She comes once a week for 3 hours. It's not enough for 3 hours looking at the number of service users that we have or residents that we have. But then unfortunately what restricts us on professional services is that we would come, check, let's say an occupational therapist, how much they charge, try to negotiate and go look for a sponsor. Presently there's a lady, she's a German lady, she's a teacher by profession. During her spare time, she fundraised. She's the one who is sponsoring us for the occupational therapist. But she could only afford 3 hours in a week, which is not next to being enough. But what we have done is that in the 3 hours, half of it, she spends training the caregivers, because they spend all the time with the kids, which is training the trainer. It's working for us. But we still need services of a physiotherapist, because some of them, their muscles needs to be stimulated. They need a physiotherapist. We still need the services of also a social worker, because some of the children were abandoned here. I was shocked last year, when one of the young ladies has been here for over 13 years, and a lady walks in and say, I am the mother. I asked her, where have you been? She says, I've been in the Eastern Cape. And checking around, we found that truly she is the mother. I called the young lady so that she can see her. When she saw her, she screamed and cried and said, Mama, and she went to her and hugged her. But the sad thing is, the lady could not even spend 5 minutes with the girl. I said to them, okay, here is a space, sit together. It's not that she has seen you. When I opened my door, she was gone. When I asked, she just greeted her by hand and walked away. Now it's nearly 8 months that she was gone. Some of the children, the parents are in our community. We appeal also to the community of Ivory Park and Tembisa, because you might see when people do come to Tumelo Home, you realize, but I know this child. And it's important to interact with us. If we don't know the parents, then you can help us. No, I know where the parents stay. We're not forcing the parents to take them, because if they take them by force, they abandon them. That is why we have a lot of them abandoned everywhere. These are kind of kids that cannot tell you who they are, where they come from. They can't even ask for food sometimes. They can't talk. So if they are abandoned, then it's sad. Our key thing, we want to provide a home for them. But no one is an island. We would like the families to get involved. So that's the key thing. We appeal to our parents to do that. We don't say, even if you don't want to take the kids, you can come. We give you space. Spend some time with them so that they know the family is still there. The family cares. We do have some whose family is ourselves. They're just here because they don't have anyone else. So we thank people that have been our supporters, our partners. We call them partners because this is a community project. They partner with us and helping us. The local leadership, councillors and others, they do come through and help us. But one of the challenges that we have over 330 children that are needing space. We do have a place. Unfortunately, we used all the funds that we have raised towards purchasing the land. We do have partners who can come through and let's build our community together. So that's what we do as Tumelo.
So what role can the community, because communities, individuals, you're not looking at corporate, but the individuals within the community, what role can they play in easing your burden?
In easing our burden. Thank you very much for asking that. Communities, they can come through, help us with, we do cleaning, we do garden, we do whatever skill they have. Because some of the community members, they do have skill because of their training. Let's say example, someone do have a skill, they can come through and help stimulate the children. Join our stimulation caregivers to stimulate the children because of the skill that they have. That is why sometimes you also call upon, you find that we say they need a physiotherapist. But you find that there are physiotherapy students staying in the community. They can come in and share their skill with our caregivers. But then some people would just come through, as I say, look, I have an hour to spare. I don't have money, but I do have time. They can give their time to help us. But also the community of Ivory Park has been good to us because they've been like family. They've rallied around us. We don't have a lot of criminal breakings here because the community is involved. So it's one of the positive elements that we have a community that is really caring and involved. But we know there are those who are out there who can say, look, I can come in to help. Some do have clothes that they are not using. We do accept it. We accept all kinds of donations. We check what we can use in, and then some of the ones that we don't use. Sometimes we do once in a while, do a jumble sale, convert them to cash, because also we have a lot of kids who are on nappies and some are adults. A pack of 14 adult nappies, it's around 120. On average, a person would use around 4 nappies. So you're looking at about 120 nappies in a month. So you can imagine
for each person.
And then we have over, I think, around 25 on nappies. So to get those nappies, it's one of the challenging things. So you whatever you can do to generate income, you do so that you can buy some nappies, and because you can imagine a day where you don't have nappies. You have a baby at home, there's no nappies. It's trouble, what do you do? But in our case, we'll be having around 25 with no nappies. So it's that. What we do around here, we provide 3 meals for them. And the 4th one is a snack time. They are used to that, they know that. If the meal is not there, they cry. Unfortunately, they can't talk. That's what they can do, they cry. So we do give them breakfast, we give them lunch, we give them snack time in the afternoons, then we give them supper. So that's what we try to do for them. So it's our call towards our community to say, you've been good to us, but let's continue partner. Some of the community members, they work in corporates. And you never lose anything by just sending a word through. Look, we have a community in our project. We have a project in our community, I'm sorry. And sometimes in this corporate, they say, look, we're looking for a project in the community where we can go do something. Tumelo Home is there, and our doors are always open for the community members to come in, engage with our kids, to come in, check what we do, and partner with us in this work.
Somebody might be looking or rather watching the video, maybe they would be interested and want to help. How do they go about to help with it?
Those that are around, our offices are always open during the week. Weekends we do have carers. They can walk in and say we would like to help, and they will get details. Otherwise, then those that want to help financially, we do have a bank account with Nedbank in the name of the organization. And those who want to contact us first, my number is 082 710 2228. Our office line is 011-261-1868. And we do have email. They can email admin@tumelohome.co.za or manager@tumelohome.co.za, or otherwise they can just come through. We are at number 2717 at the corner of Freedom Drive and 29 September Drive in Ivory Park. Our streets, the entering street at the gate is Medibaloy Street, it's number 50. So that's where we are, but they can communicate with us and we see how we partner.
Okay, no, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This is one of our bedrooms. We use the dormitory kind of sleeping arrangement. It's for girls, but 3 years ago we used to have 6 cot beds like this one. In here there were 6, but then some of the kids grew taller than beds, and we had to put standard length beds, and only 4 could be accommodated this side. This is our bathrooms. Our baths, it's 2 baths and a shower, but our baths are up because we work on a ratio of 1 caregiver to 5 children. So when they are this way, it's easy for them to do it while standing. They help each other, pick and put children in, and they bath them while standing. Whereas the other side, we do have a standard bath that are lower. Some of the kids, as part of therapy and stimulation, they bath themselves. So we just clean after them. It's our kitchen. Some good Samaritan helped us, and they uplifted the face of our kitchen and donated the whole lot. This is our boys' dormitory. A lot of kids can't differentiate exactly between night and day. So the beds are lockable. We do open them, and so at night then we do the same. We lock them in. This is for boys. The 2 beds, we do have some older boys who grew up here. The 2 middle rooms are for boys, including this one. It's for boys. Some of the children now are growing taller than these beds, which means we have to get standard length beds. And this one is for girls. If you've realized, you'll see that on the girls' rooms, we have a lot of standard length beds. Because a lot of girls, some came here at teenage age, and they were abused because some people thought it's easy, they can get away with it. So we provide a place of safety and shelter for them. The bed behind the doors are the beds that were in the first room. We had to find space for them. So that is why we say space, it's one of the major challenges. We're looking at expanding this place to get to accommodate such so that they have their own space. We are going towards where our children are. They spend much of their time in the stimulation space, though we use this area as a multi-purpose space. So this is some of the children. Some are out there, and some are in the other side. The other group is this one. We've divided them into groups. So On these ones, we do a sensory stimulation and some therapy, and we do have the other ones that whose functioning level is higher the other side. So, as I've said, this space during feeding times, we use it as our dining space, but also, as you can see, some of the carers are feeding them because some of the kids, they practically need someone with a bowl to sit and feed them. I think